Hi everybody, I apologize in advance for the poor lighting. I try my best, I promise. Anyway, about the last video. In the second last video about the differences between the two Braille Note Touch models, I lied. Well, not really. I recorded the last video about Turing Keysoft and main menu before the differences video. Very confusing and complicated, I know. But this is the next video, and I said it would be about the Mantis Q40. And, as I always am, I was correct. So, in this video, we're going to do a whole product demonstration about the Mantis Q40. First of all, what is the Mantis Q40? The Mantis Q40, HumanWare and APH, they partnered together to make a Braille display touch to a QWERTY keyboard. Now, the reason for this, Greg Stilson said himself. They did this because often students would get uncomfortable when shifting to a QWERTY keyboard without the Braille display. But now they can be comfortable with this. Now, they also released the Chameleon, which is just this, but with the Braille display. And yeah, so they released that with the Chameleon, which had 20 cells instead of 40. And it's designed as a standalone to give a student what a visual student would be able to access in class. For example, there's a keypad as substitution for pen and paper, or a file manager substitution for folders, and date and time checker for a substitution for a sighted person to see a clock. So that also applies to the Chameleon and the Brilliant BI 40X series that HumanWare has released, running Keysoft Lite. So let's take a physical description of this. Okay, so you have the Braille display here, 40 cells as front top edge, and we have a cursor routing button for each cell. And then above that, we have the QWERTY keyboard. Control, Command, hold on, let me just position this. Command, Option or Windows, and Command or Alt, depending on what you're running. This also has a terminal with it. We have a QWERTY keyboard. There's no numpad, it's a laptop design keyboard. We have arrow keys. Now we have function keys back here. They also, some of them have little bumps on them to know where you are. For example, the F and J keys to know the home or the arrow keys. Now, if we look at the front edge, I apologize for the poor lighting again. We have 4 thumb keys and a home button. So, here, hold on, I'm gonna really rotate this thing entirely. Alright, so here we have our previous thumb key. Now, if you watch my other videos, you know that this moves you to the previous item. This is the left thumb key, pans your Braille display left. This is the right thumb key. And this, with my completely dysfunctional eyeballs, we have the next thumb key. The next thumb key. To make you do the next one. Sorry, this is right and left. And in the center, we have the home button, which will take you to the Keysoft main menu and exit terminal mode. Now it's in a green sort of bumper case, so you want to take that off so I can press the buttons easier. I'm gonna maybe edit this out later, but oh man, this Braille's like it's alright. So as I'm struggling, I'm gonna talk about what else is on it. So we use the USB-C cable, just like later products. Alright, I got it out. So on the left side of that display, this camera needs to be changed. Alright. We have a USB port for those USB thumb drives, devices, ECT. And we have a power button. There's a shelf in the way. And we have a USB-C cable for charging and transferring files. We also have an SD card slot here. So, let's power this thing on by holding the power button. It will vibrate. And on here it says starting with the rotational loading thing, which is all in the Braille note models as well. So we can just wait. Now it will say editor. So we're on the main menu, so we can use first letter navigation. Now if you're not comfortable using the, and it also says it's connected to this camera. And if you're uncomfortable using the QWERTY keyboard method, if you press F12, it will switch to a Braille entry mode. So F, D, S, and A are now dots 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 7, and then the J, K, L, semicolon are 4, 5, 6, 8. So this is like Typeo. You can use those. You can still use some of the keys, but I'm going to switch it back to the standard keyboard, to QWERTY keyboard. So let's scroll through the options. We have an editor. It's not as advanced as like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, but it's a simple note editor. We have the terminal, which can use to connect to other devices. The library is used for reading some books. File manager is to like easily move around stuff. Files. Calculator is a basic 4-function calculator. Date and time, mine's off by a few minutes. Basically a clock. The settings, we'll get to that. Online services, this is where you can have your account in here and get some books from NFB and Bookshare so far. If you're from Canada and you see that, I'm sorry, like me. User guide, that's pretty self-explanatory. And power off is where you can do that, or you can just hold the power button. So let's go to the editor first. I'm going to press enter, which is the button right here. And we have a few options. I'm just using the space bar to move. So we have create file, open file, or editor settings. So let's go to, there's also the close. Let's go to create file. So now we're in a txt file. And we can write using the QWERTY keyboard or the Braille entry method. So let's shift this. I wrote, oops, sorry. And we can position it with the cursor routing keys and then just press delete. T-H-I-S, book is good. And you can just press backspace if you make a mistake. This book is good because I wrote it. So now it will show up as there. And when you're in this format, it will show up as like computer Braille because it doesn't really matter. But if you go to the Braille entry, then it won't do that unless you're set to that table. Now a few basic commands. To access the contextual menu, you can press Control M. Let's try that again. Yeah, I need to work on this. So, it's because oops. So this thing connects to 3 different devices at once. So basically, well, 4. 3 with the Bluetooth connect. Alright. 3 with a Bluetooth connection and 1 USB. Alright. So we're in the context menu. And this is like contextual. If you need to remember a command, you just go here. So we have 2 options. File menu, well, technically, file menu, edit menu, or close. So if we go into file menu, we can create a file if we press Control, Function, and N. Control Alt N if you're Windows. Open file, you can Control O. Close file from here. You can Control S to save, or if you press Escape, it will give you a prompt. Save as will Shift Control S, CTRL. Read mode is basically where it doesn't allow you to edit, so Control R. You can also access the editor settings from here. So if I open the context, I should have stayed there. Alright, edit menu. Find is where you can search for terms in your file. Control F. Find next, find next, F3 / Control 3. And find previous is the same, but you add the shift. Replace is where you can find a replace. It's Control H. Copy is Control C. To cut text and put it to the clipboard, it's Control X. And paste is Control V. Now to select, press F8 at the start, and then when you're done, you can press F8 again. Now to select all, it's Control +1. And we can close it from here. Now in the editor settings, it's confirm before deleting, which is when you're deleting files. I'll show you this later. So it's save open file. I'm going to say no. Now let's go to open file. This will bring up the file manager, which I'm going to see later. Now terminal, we're going to revisit that much later. Library, this is where you can look at the books. So book list, we can see recent read, or we can search for books. Now let's go to the file manager. So let's open the context menu here. So to mark, Control + Enter. Mark all is Control +1, just like select all in the editor. We can open the file or folder. We can get info on that file or folder by pressing Control I. We can rename by pressing F2. We can press delete by pressing delete. And then the same copy, cut, and paste as in the editor. And new folder is Control N. Search is Control F, just like in the editor. To sort, Control, Shift, and V. Now Where Am I will give you like the path, like where you are. Sort of like the file path. Where Am I is Control W. Select drive, Control D. If you have a USB or SD card, you can change where you want to start. To eject media, Control + FN + E. Or Control Alt E. Oh yeah, sorry, this button is command, not this one. Alright. So we can go to the parent folder. So now we're in the drive select. If we go to storage, which is its internal storage, we have a few folders that come with it that you don't have to make. Books, documents, and online books, and release notes. These folders are automatically with your Mantis Q 40. No need to create them. But I did also create some extras like files and Scratchpad just to demonstrate that. So if we go to documents, I have a few things here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are text files, so there's not a lot of advanced formatting like in docx files or stuff like that. You do not have the option to change the file type. So if we go, we have Braille contest writing. That's for something else. We can close that from here. So I can press C to go to the calculator, which is the next option. So if we open the context menu, then it will give us some different options, like commands if we don't, well, the symbols if we don't know how to write them. But right now it's in computer Braille. So, I don't know, let's go. Actually, it's not, it's just 1. I don't know, let's think of something simple. 1 minus 2, and we can press enter, and we get -1 right there. So now, if we press Control 1, oh wait, yeah, I forgot. Alright, so if we exit the count, the next is date and time. Now, mine's off by a few. This says 29, which is the current time. And it also displays seconds, just like the Braille 14 and the Braille 40X. Also shows you the date. You can tell that's June 13th, 2021. Now if we open the context menu by Control M, we have change time and change date. We have daylight saving, which is I have on. We have the option to change between 24-hour and 12-hour time. We have date format MMDDYYY, so you can change this if you want. Now we can close the app, which I'm gonna do right now. If it lets me, I'm just gonna press the home button. It's easier. Now let's look at the settings of this device. So you might notice that my audio quality is gonna change because I'm gonna edit this because I need to change setup. Alright, so in the settings menu, we have user settings, Braille profile, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, change language, activate exam mode, software update, about and close. So let's go to user settings. Airplane mode is where you can turn off stuff that disturbs the pilot. Format markers, this is for the editor. If you have this off, then it will not show you the format markers. The cursor visible, this will show you the cursor in the editor and stuff like that. Message display time 5. I haven't actually received any flash message. So basically what this does, if you receive a flash message, this is how long it will last. Now sleep time, this is how long it will take. If you leave it, then it will turn off after that set amount of time. Word wrap is if you have long words, and so let's say you have a word that's more than 4 cells, but some Braille cells, but 36 of the Braille cells are taken up by Braille. And then if you pan next, then it will display the word then instead of cutting off the word. Now the next pan width. Now condensed blank lines is pretty useful. So if you have a bunch of blank lines in a document, then it will just make them compact. Confirm delete. This is also in the editor settings. It's gonna, make it, if you delete a file and you don't want to do it, then this feature could be useful. Now, we also have vibration. If you turn this off, it will not vibrate. Beep, you can turn this off too. Thumb keys config, you can make the previous, left, right, index monkeys do different things if you want. Wireless notifications is if you want to receive notifications. So let's go to the next setting. Alright, so the next is Braille profile. So right now there's English. So there's in the context menu you can also edit or delete this. But I'm gonna add profile for demonstration purposes. Now it's giving me profile name. I'm gonna write. Hold on, my setting's gonna change. I'm gonna write test. Next, it's Braille grade contracted Braille. This is for input and output. Computer Braille table English US. Labui. I'm fine with this. Sorry, my setup drastically changed because this device fell off the ledge it was supported on, so sorry about that. I'm probably going to edit that out later. Uncontracted Braille. I'm fine with it being English US. I don't really use it anyway. Now, contracted Braille table is what I'm currently using. So if we want, we could also change this. Now, save configuration. There's no speech on this thing, so that won't matter. So next is Wi-Fi. Now, I already have it hooked up to my Wi-Fi. We have the Wi-Fi on. We have Wi-Fi status. We have the option to make a new connection, launch network to change networks, or delete connection, or network settings as well. You could also import network configuration, and we can go back. Bluetooth is also, this is good for terminal, which we're going to explore later. So, this is where we can, hold on. We can have it on or off. We can connect the device, disconnect the device, or delete pair device. We can change the language in the change language, keyboard, and output. We can activate exam mode, so this will sort of make, so we can change how long it will last. We can allow we can choose what stuff we can access, choose a password. This is good for exams, and this is good for class if a teacher comes out and hey, what are you doing? And then exam mode will lock them in unless they know a password. So software update, automatic check is on. It will send notifications if there is an update. We can check for update here, and now it's gonna tell me please wait. No update yet. No update available, I should say. And then we can go back from there. And about is licenses and legal information. So on my camera, my setup's gonna change again. I'm gonna turn on voiceover, and then we're gonna see. Alright, so I'm turning on voiceover.